There's a man in our room. Here I am, no contacts in. Okay, and I get accosted.
Hey y'all, my name is Sydney and welcome to Planet Syd. Today we are going to be discussing cringe culture and how it forces people to lose their authenticity. Cringe culture is online bullying, usually targeted at a group or a specific person for engaging in interests, hobbies, or behaviors that are quote unquote not normal. Usually the targets of cringe cultures are usually people that come from marginalized groups like Black women, people of color, LGBTQ, disabled, neurodivergent, etc. So the goal of the people behind cringe culture is to shame and bully these groups of people into assimilation, which is wrong unless you're doing this.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Because what was that? So before we dive into it, I want to define cringe. The Merriam-Webster defines cringe as to recoil in distaste. In reference to the internet, I would explain as a form of intensified secondhand embarrassment, which is fine. It's an emotion, but when people act on that in a negative way, that's where cringe culture is birthed. And so I want to do a deeper dive into what emotions are behind cringe culture and why people feel the need to engage in it. So in order to break this down, ladies and gentlemen, she's, theys, and gays, I made us a little graphic and we're going to call it the cringe iceberg. So, of course, at the top of the iceberg, the part that everyone sees, and then below the surface, which is the huge part of it, which is the part that no one sees. At the tip of the iceberg, we have empathy. The Merriam-Webster would define empathy as the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another, of either the past or present, without having the feelings, thoughts, and experience fully communicated in an objectively explicit manner. And I know what you guys are thinking. We like to associate empathy with emotions like sadness or grief, or whenever someone is telling you a sad story or even good news and you can feel that emotion for them. Empathy can be applied to any emotion. So the emotion that we're going to be applying in this case for cringe culture is contempt. The Merriam-Webster would define contempt as the act of despising the state of mind of one who despises, or the lack of respect or reverence for something. And to elaborate on that form of empathy, developmental psychologist Felipe Rashad wrote, "Cringe is an automatic empathy response of contempt or compassion," end quote. So the people that engage in cringe culture, they feel contempt, which is somewhat of a disdain for that person, which is in some form of projection. And usually the people that feel compassion whenever they see somebody doing or engaging in something that they would consider cringy, usually those people would either keep on scrolling and mind their business, as everybody should.
Should have just sat there and ate your food.
Or maybe they will remind themselves of a time wherever they did something cringy and they will feel compassion for that person, or they would just show support for that person. So usually that's somebody who would feel compassion, but the people that feel contempt are the ones who engage in the bullying and harassing. For the other part of the cringe iceberg, for the bottom part below the surface, we have psychological projection. And psychological projection is a term coined by Austrian psychologist Sigmund Freud. And so to elaborate on just the feeling and the emotions of what psychological projection is, Aditi Murti, an editor from The Swaddle, says, quote, "Our fascination with looking at a hot mess, regardless of the secondhand shame it elicits in certain situations, illuminates quite a bit about what we are or what we fear we will become. By laughing, individuals reassure themselves that they would never tolerate themselves behaving in such a manner. Contemptuous cringe reactions, therefore, are a projection of insecurity." End quote. And I just think that is so, that I don't even know how to further elaborate on that, because that is just perfect. Somewhere underneath all of that contempt, people who engage in cringe culture, they see someone enjoying themselves and expressing themselves freely and finding joy in that, and then some part of themselves feels insecure because maybe that's something that they can't do, or maybe that's something that they've been shamed for in the past. Perhaps that's when contempt comes in, and then they start projecting their insecurities of inadequacy onto this random person that they don't even know, who's minding their business and who's just living their life. I think that this is so interesting, especially in the world of social media, because if you're active on TikTok, then you know the girl, I believe her name is Kylie Bailey. I believe that she does covers. I'm not sure if she's like an actual singer, but she seems like a normal girl. She sings and then she usually dances, but recently she's been going viral for her dances. Usually when she dances, she doesn't dance to like the first downbeats of a song, if that makes sense. She kind of feels the music and she just vibes. She's not doing like a dance on TikTok that already went viral or something. She's just moving her body and dancing. She's been getting a lot of attention lately, and I've actually seen her on my For You page. That's how I came up with the idea for this video. But she's been getting a lot of attention lately because a lot of people are in her comments like, girl, what are you doing? That's so cringy. Like, stop dancing. It's like on every video that she does now, because she does upload a lot of videos of her just dancing and vibing to whatever music, and people are just hating on her for no reason because she's not harming anybody. But she gets hundreds and thousands of comments of people telling her stop. There are people who are pretty positive on there. They're just like, girl, I don't know why they're being so mean to you. You're minding your business. Like, they just hate it. And she's also made a few videos on how she doesn't understand why people are so bothered by her just expressing joy and doing what she loves, which is dancing and singing. And I don't get why either, because she's really just dancing. Even if it's not for you, you can just scroll on by. And another example I would think of this on like a much bigger level is Chloe Bailey, who has been getting a lot of attention these past few months. At first it was for her body and everything, but then people are calling her cringy as well, which is just like she can't win. Like, some people feel that she's forcing her sexuality, which makes her cringy, but bullying her and then commenting on that is quite telling of the person who's saying that and not her. Especially when she's just doing what she loves, which is music, dancing, and performing, and she's not hurting anybody. She seems like a sweet person. I don't know her personally, and so does the Kylie girl. Like, she seems like a decent person. I don't know her. But people feel inclined and entitled to comment on them and tell them that what they're doing is undesirable and cringy. And I think what's so interesting in these two specific cases is that they were just loved like 6 months ago. So of course for Chloe, whenever she broke away from her sister, she got a lot of attention whenever she got that Instagram account, and you know, her body is, you know, banging. Of course she has a lot of hits as well. I personally love Chloe and Halle, and I love Chloe individually, and I think that she's an amazing performer, and I can't wait to see her grow, whatever. But people were just praising her for having this body and like, oh my god, like, you're so beautiful and like, you're grown up now. But now people hate her for that same thing. And then even with the girl Kylie on TikTok, a few months ago, last year, her song, she did a cover and basically it blew up as a sound on TikTok. And so there were literally thousands of videos of people using her songs. So I thought it was interesting, specifically with cringe culture, how fast people were to turn on them. I think it says a lot about the people who are telling them that whatever they're doing, especially them expressing joy and being them authentic selves, is inherently wrong. And so to further on that quote with that editor from The Swaddle, and I quote, "Developing a taste for cringe content and the contempt it inspires may often lead to one losing a sense of human error and kindness." It literally takes nothing just to be a nice person, even if you do see something that you would consider cringy, to just mind your business and to keep on scrolling. And so now we're going to go back. Now we're going to go back to the cringe iceberg. So we have empathy and psychological projection, but now we're going to add a little boat, aka the Titanic. We are going to call it authenticity. So with this boat of authenticity, it's minding its business, like Kylie and Chloe. And then it hits this iceberg. First you get a hit with empathy, but then above that is actually psychological projection. And what that does with cringe culture as a whole, because other people see that it's not just one person and then another person going back and forth. It's thousands, even millions of people telling a one single person or a smaller group that they're cringy or that they're undesirable when they're just having fun and being themselves and being authentic. And so the message that sends, especially to somebody who's just observing, who may be impressionable, that sends the message that being your authentic self and authenticity will get you shamed. When you're on the internet, there's a level of dehumanization and lack of authenticity that a lot of people have, especially if you engage in cringe culture, which is a problem in and of itself. Because if you're on the internet, I'm saying you're dehumanizing somebody, because it's so easy to type up something and tell somebody that them enjoying their interest is bad or somehow wrong or shameful, or even worse, like another severe form of bullying, when they're not doing anything and when they're not harming anybody. It's very easy to do that because there's such a distance away that I feel like a lot of people don't even genuinely comprehend that these are actual people, especially with the app like TikTok, where you're watching 15-second videos from one person over here and then another 15-second video of another person doing something completely different. Like, you're just consuming content, but you're not seeing that that's an actual person who's producing that or just finding or expressing themselves. Especially with the girl who dances on TikTok, Kylie. She's just a normal girl. And so the thing with cringe culture is that there's an uneven ratio of the people that are behind it, who are targeting just one specific person or a specific group. Caitlin Tiffany from The Atlantic said that, quote, "The empathy that was once part of cringe culture, the it could happen to me or it has, is harder to get to because the positions of viewer and subject are so uneven. The cringe comes at a remove," end quote. Are you proud of yourself? Are you? You shouldn't be. That can be discouraging if you're just being yourself and people are shaming you for that. And I also do think it's kind of unfortunate because we all are on these platforms, as far as like Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and even Facebook. You are so visible to people who you don't even know. It's sad that people who are complete strangers and most likely wouldn't say this to your face can just be so nasty and mean and shameful for when they don't have to be. When they can just scroll, because obviously the content isn't for you. And if it's on your For You page, you can keep on scrolling and then the algorithm will figure out that you don't want that content. So don't be a hater. So now that poses a question, what do we do? And I don't know. Because people aren't going to stop with cringe culture. I highly doubt it. But if you're watching this, think twice before you comment on someone else's content, especially when they're just minding their business and expressing joy and authenticity, especially today where I feel like that's hard to come by, so you really got to grab onto whatever you can get. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys stayed to the end, I hope you guys enjoyed this video essay. Be sure to leave some comments down below and tell me what you guys think about this topic. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys feel safe and seen wherever you are. I hope you guys are finding joy and freedom on your journey of self-expression. Until next time.